But is this thing on?
Yeah. Hey. It's Paul. Welcome back to Talk About Hawkin Out, your YouTube weekly Seahawks program. Another week, another game, another victory for the Hawks. I say another, but it was the first regular season game that actually, the first game that mattered this year. And the Dolphins came to town, CenturyLink Field. We're going to recap that game on today's show. And we have a special guest that has been begging me to be on the show, my cousin Vance. He's going to join us for some Rams-Seahawks predictions and keys to the game. He's quite a character, so you're going to want to sit around and check that out. But before we do anything else, it's time for... there's a little magic, huh? Perhaps a little magic. Nothing in the hat, nothing in the hat. Okay, let's see what we got here. Need that. Not what I'm looking for. But where is it? Oh, okay, here we go. That's about right. There, stick you here. Come here. I'm gonna stick you right there. Right now, you stay right there, and here, switch hands, and okay. Put you right there, and okay, hello, buddy. Okay. All right, that's all right, buddy. Game recap. All right, get out of here. Thank you. Miami Dolphins come to town to face the Seattle Seahawks at the CenturyLink Field. In what starts out as kind of a snoozer and winds up being actually a pretty exciting game. First preseason game of the year, that's kind of what you expect. Miami's going to win that toss and defer, which breaks the trend of Seattle winning all the preseason tosses, but it is now the regular season. It's a whole different world. A lot of punts going on in this game. It's pretty, Miami had a strong defensive line, and Seattle had a hard time getting anything going, and Seattle's defense showed up, as you knew they would, and they're looking actually like they're in really good form, in really good shape. Well, after a little back and forth in the first quarter, the two teams playing catch with their feet. Seattle's going to put themselves in field goal range at 5:15. Stephen Hauschka is going to punch it through at the Miami 21-yard line. Seattle's going to go up 3-0 in the first quarter on a 12-play drive that takes up 6 minutes of the clock. When Miami's going to get the ball back, and Arian Foster is actually going to make Earl Thomas look a little silly when Cassius Marsh, the Hawks defensive end, skips past his assignment, lets Arian Foster blow by him in an attempt to get to Ryan Tannehill, Miami's quarterback. Ryan Tannehill hits Arian Foster up the left side for 50 yards, and in the process makes Earl Thomas whiff in a way I've never seen before. It is all for naught, however, on that possession. Miami gets all the way down at Seattle's 17-yard line, and on 4th and 1 goes for it, and the Hawks defense holds. Seattle's going to get the ball back on downs with 1:09 left in the first quarter. However, that possession is going to end in a punt, and Miami on the next possession is going to see their quarterback, Ryan Tannehill, sacked for a loss of 8 by Frank Clark. They wind up having to punt that ball away. And this is looking like a pretty sloppy game in the second quarter. 11 minutes to go. Russell Wilson's in the shotgun, drops back, gets flushed out of the pocket, and scrambling for his life down on the Seattle 23-yard line. Airs it out in an attempt to hit Luke Wilson on the big play, and he gets picked off. So Miami is going to get the ball back on the Seattle 42. They're going to put themselves in field goal range and punch it through the uprights. Tie the game up at 3-3 with 8:49 left to go in the half. Seattle after getting the ball back from Miami, they're going to have to punt it away, and Tannehill is actually going to rush on the ensuing possession, rush up the right side for 11 yards. He's still got those young legs. Russell Wilson and Ryan Tannehill drafted in the first year. In the same year, 2012, Ryan Tannehill, a first rounder, Russell Wilson, a third rounder. And we all know, obviously, how great of a QB number 3 has been for us. But Tannehill for Miami is actually starting to come along and show some of those first-round skills and talents as he evolves and matures. He's starting to earn that paycheck. But he's not good enough. In this particular instance, Miami punts the ball away. Seahawks answer with a punt. Miami says, anything you can do, I can do, punter. And the Dolphins punt the ball back away right at the 2-minute warning in the half. Now, Seattle on this final drive, starting from their own 8-yard line, they're going to say, okay, well, we know how to work these end of the quarter, end of the halftime drills, and they look pretty good here. The offense winds up bringing the clock all the way down to 4 seconds, putting Hauschka on the 20-yard line, and Stephen Hauschka is going to kick field goal to end the half 6-3. Hawks up 6-3. Miami starts the second half out with the ball, and Tannehill's going to get sacked again. Michael Bennett's going to come up and earn that paycheck, which he earns like 10 times over already. He's way better than he's getting paid, but it's just going to drive that point home and echo out to the league that, hey, I'm back, I'm in great shape, and I'm the man. Well, the Hawks are going to get the ball back, and this is going to be what is going to be a part of the Russell Wilson legend. Russell Wilson, the O-line is going to get blown out by Ndamukong Suh, and sure enough, guess what happens? Ndamukong Suh blows past the O-line, and in an attempt to sack Russell Wilson, actually steps on the guy. I don't know. Dirty play? You decide. Let me know in the comments below. It's hard to say, but Ndamukong Suh definitely stepped on Russell Wilson, turned his ankle, and immediately Russell Wilson grabs his ankle. Like, okay, so you're thinking, yep, Russell Wilson is hurt for sure. This is bad and good. And it looked really bad. On the next 2 plays, he could barely move. He tried to throw like a little bit of sidearm. He tried to walk it off, but you could put 0 weight on it. The Hawks wind up having to punt the ball away. And CenturyLink Field goes incredibly silent, something you don't hear very often, even when the Hawks are on the offense on the opposing team's 1-yard line. Well, medical staff for the Hawks, they tape Russell Wilson's ankles up, both of them, and he comes back out into the game. He jogs out into the field, but you can tell he's hobbled, and his feet look like he's wearing moon boots, for crying out loud. But he powered through it. He really he pushed past his pain threshold, and we actually saw Trevon Boykin warming up a little bit, and that didn't really give anybody a good feeling. Trevon Boykin is a little erratic at this point, and it's good to know that Russell Wilson was able to keep the reins and see this game through. Well, let's see it. 1:03 left to go in the third quarter. The Hawks with the ball in the Seattle 28. It's 3rd and 6, and Wilson's going to be the benefactor of a roughing the passer on an incomplete pass. So the Hawks are going to get 15 yards and a first down. But 3 plays later, Hawks fumble the ball. Dolphins get the ball back. The Dolphins get the ball back at Seattle's 36, bring it down to the 9 where they attempt a field goal, which is blocked by this second hero of the game, Cassius Marsh. Second-year defensive end from UCLA. He was injured his rookie year, drafted in 2014. He worked his way back up and to become a special teams stud, and now he's seeing some time on the defensive line. 9:24 left to go in the game. Russell Wilson hits Jermaine Kearse on a nice pass for 24 yards. However, the Hawks are going to have to punt out of that. Miami is going to get the ball back at the 14, and they're going to drive all the way down to the Seattle 2-yard line where the defense holds again, and the Dolphins are actually forced to punt. 4:12 left to go in the game. Down 3-6. Ryan Tannehill scores a rushing touchdown up the middle for 2 yards. putting the Dolphins up 10-6 after that extra point is good. So now we are down. The Hawks are down with 4 minutes and 8 seconds to go at home, 10-6 to Miami. So what do we need? This is a fourth quarter comeback, something that Russell Wilson does really well. He's 14th, or he's tied for 67th now, all time on the list of fourth quarter comebacks, and he is going to from here on out engineer his 14th fourth quarter comebacks. And just for hoots, Russell Wilson is 67th on the list all time in the NFL in fourth quarter comebacks, including the one we're about to see. He's tied with Steve Young, Michael Vick, Norm Snead, Dan Pastorini, Babe Pirelli, Billy Kilmer, Brad Johnson, Trent Dilfer. So not exactly an elite list outside of Steve Young, who played for 14 years. Only 14 fourth quarter comebacks. It's pretty impressive. And even Michael Vick right below him, he's got 14 years in the league. Russell Wilson now with 5 and just as many game-winning drives to win the game. So here we are, and this actually is pretty exciting because we're down 4 points. What's going to happen? Russell Wilson's been hobbled, and we need a little magic from our quarterback, and magic is exactly what we get. This drive is going to start out at the 25-yard line, and steadily with a mixture of runs and short passes. Every single play in this final drive is going to be from the shotgun, either huddle or no huddle. Russell Wilson's going to pass short to Doug Baldwin for 22 yards at the Seattle 47-yard line. That's going to get us across midfield, and now we're going to run this right out to the 2-minute warning. Again from shotgun. This is where it gets good. Russell Wilson passes up the middle to, hey, Jimmy Graham, you're back in the house, making a catch for 11 yards. Next play, a minute 28 to go. Wilson passes right to Tyler Lockett for 5 yards. Minute 9 to go. Russell Wilson's going to pass short right to Doug Baldwin for 9 yards. Now we're on the Miami 11, 2nd and 5. Wilson's going to pass to Doug Baldwin and hit him for 9 yards. 1st and 2 from Miami 2. Christian Michael is going to try to punch it in on the left side, but he's going to get shut down by Ndamukong Suh. No surprise there. The guy's a stud. 2nd and 2 on the Miami 2 with a hobbled quarterback driving all the way down the field to try to preserve our first home win of the year and our opening game of the year. And from a no-huddle, Russell Wilson from the shotgun. The team lines up to run it in, it turns out, and Russell Wilson's going to call an audible, likes the matchup, and he's going to hit Doug Baldwin going way to the left side for a 2-yard touchdown play. The Hawks are going to take the lead. Hauschka's going to come up for that extra point, but it ends up being blocked by Miami. So the Hawks, after that touchdown, go up 12-10. Miami still has 31 seconds left. Now, there are new rules in the NFL where after a kickoff, if it goes into the end zone, it's a touchback and it comes out all the way to the 25-yard line. Well, Hauschka kicks off, it goes into the end zone, and Miami's returner makes a critical mistake and tries to take it out of the end zone and, in effect, get a big play. So he burns time on the clock, and he only gets out to the 18-yard line, costing the Dolphins 7 yards. And this, basically, the game is going to end on a Ryan Tannehill sack by Cliff Averill. The Hawks are going to win 12-10 in a little bit of a scare at home. Russell Wilson, 62% passer rating, 27 for 43, had 258 yards, 1 TD, 1 pick. Christian Michael had a pretty good game. He looked good, didn't put up big yards or anything, and he had 15 carries, and Thomas Rawls had 12. C. Mike had 66 yards. Thomas Rawls had 32. C. Mike looks like a starting. He looks like a starting running back. The talk is that Thomas Rawls is actually more talented, but it's going to take him a while to get up to speed. But you can tell every time Rawls touched the ball, he was running with power and anger, and it was just like he was at full. This is the same way he ran last year. He was at top speed and full energy the entire time. He's really a lot of fun to watch. Doug Baldwin, 9 receptions, 92 yards. Jermaine Kearse with his proficient and efficient and important catches, 5 and 57. Tyler Lockett actually had a pretty bad game. He was targeted quite a bit, had a few drops, only 3 catches for 17 yards. CJ Procise, 1 run, 13 yards, broken hand. This guy is fragile, right? So we've been waiting for him to come back from injury, and he goes out there and he has a broken bone in his hand. Apparently he's going to play, but not looking good for the dude from Notre Dame. Jimmy Graham was back. He had a catch for 11 yards, which was actually pretty pivotal. And Cassius Marsh, kind of the unknown guy. I had no idea who this guy was. He has a sack fumble, 3 solo tackles, and a blocked field goal after he whiffs on Arian Foster and gives up that big play. He got chewed out, and then he came back and made up for it. So, all right, man. Good for you, Cassius Marsh. You're coming from obscurity, and you've made a name for your team, name for yourself on this team, which is something that the Hawks do, which is why a lot of players want to come to Seattle, because they're going to get the opportunity in the competitive environment. It doesn't matter if you've been in the league 10 years at the top of your game, or if you're in the league 2 years and nobody's ever heard of you and you're an undrafted free agent, you're going to get a chance to compete for a starting job. 1-0, well on our way now to that undefeated perfect season, and the record-setting and Miami Dolphin shattering 19-0, and I said last week that I thought it was really fitting that Miami came to town, because I believe that every single game this year for the Hawks is winnable, which could potentially give us a 16-0 season, which I'm predicting, and then a run all the way and a victory in the Super Bowl, 19-0. So what better team to come to town and start us off on our historic season than the Miami Dolphins, who currently hold, since 1972, the only undefeated season and a Super Bowl victory. So every year the Dolphins get to crack a bottle of champagne when all of the teams, the final teams in the NFL, the final undefeated teams lose. And that's the day that they crack that cork on the champagne bottle. But let's keep them this year from that joy and from that tasty, tasty pleasure. All right, moving forward into next week, we're got to go down to the Rams. The Rams, who have moved from St. Louis, now back to Los Angeles. Jeff Fisher at head coach. And their first round draft pick, Goff, is in street clothes, and they're not playing him. So the Rams are a bit of a laughingstock. And in fact, this week in Game 1, they went to San Francisco, whose organization is also in shambles. They lost 28-0, got blanked in San Fran. Now they come to their new /temporary home in Los Angeles, the Coliseum, where Pete Carroll is going to have a huge warm welcome. In fact, some of the Rams commentators are saying that Pete Carroll is going to have a larger response from the crowd, more cheers from the response than when the Rams come out. So, in fact, one of the commentators said they should announce Pete Carroll, and while that applause is still going on for Pete Carroll, run the Rams out onto the field real fast. So it looks like the crowd is clapping for the Rams. So the Rams have given us trouble in the past. It's kind of a thorn in our side, but I see this as being a victory in L.A. They have the best defensive line in football versus the Seattle Seahawks, who have been ranked as the worst offensive line in football. So it could be a battle. Russell Wilson's hobbled, and he's going to be one of his biggest weapons is mobility, but he's been walking around without a boot this week. He's just going to be tough, and he's going to play absolutely. I think that one of his big weapons from that mobility standpoint is going to be taken away, though. So I'm going to say Hawks on top. I'm not going to give a score prediction because I have my cousin Vance, who he's been begging me to be on the show, and he wants to give you guys a prediction, a score prediction, and a possible a little bit of a game preview. Vance, come on in here via live video. Vance, how's it going, man?
Hey, I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good. So, here you are. You got yourself on to talk about Hawkin now. Thanks for coming on. Everybody can see what a huge fan you are. And I guess you want to give us a prediction today, a little score prediction and game breakdown?
Yep. That's the plan. That's the plan.
All right, man. Well, take it away.
All right. Thanks, Paulie. Hey, you begged me. You asked me. You said you got to come on the show for me. So after months and months of you asking me, finally I'm going to come on the show for you. All right. And also the Hawks and the 12s and to represent the east side of the state of Washington, where the water's clear and the air is fresh and the cows are ripe for the picking and eating. Anyhow, one thing we love out there over the mountains is our Seahawks. And what do we got? We got a bunch of fish coming to town. What? We're gonna squish them fish. Bleh. They're nothing. The Dolphins are nothing. I seen scarier fish in a fish tank about this big. You know what I'm saying? It's stupid. Why are they even bothering? I mean, the Dolphins came to town, they look stupid, so we squished them like fish, and that's what I was talking about the whole time. Now we got this other stupid animal coming to town, the Rams. Look at their helmet. It looks like Princess Leia had bleach blonde hair and they put it on the side of their head. It looks like two swirly yellow turds in a toilet, and they thought this would be hilarious, so let's wear that on the side of our heads. The Rams, best D-line in football. Yeah, right. The only D-line is the one from my butthole to my ball sack. That's a D-line for you. Rams, ain't gonna happen. We gotta go down and watch the Rams have a louder crowd response to our coach than Jeff Fisher, who fires his players for having women over in their locker rooms. Give me a break. He loved cutting that guy. If you haven't seen it, watch it on YouTube, stupid Rams. Oh, you're so pathetic. It's like you want to say that you give us Hawks a hard time. No. You don't give us a hard time. We have a hard time waking up at that hour, because we used to have to go over to St. Louis to play you, and now we're in the same time zone, so there ain't gonna be no groggy mornings for us no more, Rams. Those days are gone for you, my friends. You are now in the Hawks time zone, and you're gonna pay the price. Stupid Rams. Why even play the game? You don't even have a quarterback with what you drafted in the first round. He's in street clothes on the sideline. You got Kasem or Keenum or whatever that dude's name is. I don't know. He sucks. Stupid Rams. Seahawks are going to go to Los Angeles, and they're going to make an embarrassment out of your organization and that J-hole, Jeff Fisher, who in 21 years of coaching has been to the playoffs 6 times. Stupid Rams. Oh, there's going to be 6 people in the stadium, and they're all going to be selling hot dogs and soda pops. Why even bother? You might as well just rent us a limo from the airport, drive us around the stadium, give us a W, and put us back on the plane. Stupid Rams. Alright, so that's going to be it. Vance Man 12 coming at you. Wanted to give you this week's pick. Hawks are going to go down to LA, and they're going to win 23-14, going away, not even trying, 2 arms tied behind their back. Russell Wilson's going to be walking around on bloody stumps, and Earl Thomas is going to be flying around the field like Superman on steroids. Not that Superman does need steroids, because he's from Krypton, but you wouldn't know that if you're a Rams fan. Stupid Rams, but you're a Hawks fan, so you already know that, because you know everything. 12s for life. Go. Back to you, Paulie. I'm out.
Thank you, Cousin Vance. Vance Man 12, everybody. Appreciate you coming on to be a part of this weekly show. Got another one in the books here. Guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you have any ideas for the show, for the game recap, as you've seen, I do kind of a little something different every time. Let's try to have some fun with it. If you have any ideas for that, leave them in the comments below, and I'll bring it to light. And at the end of the season, I'll make a montage of all the game recaps. Go Hawks! I'm pretty sure that we're going to come out of LA with a victory. I'm going to follow Vance's lead and call it a double-digit win. Guys, make sure you subscribe. You can catch me on Twitter at NobusHClip. That's at NobusHClip. I'll put the links down below. Thanks again for watching, guys. I'm going to put the sign up at the end. Say it with me. I'm in. See ya.